Mark Pope has added another 7-footer to the 2025-26 roster, and this kid is a Lexington, Kentucky native. We'll talk about the addition of Reece Potter on today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, publisher over at Kentucky Wildcats on SI, joined as always by Carson Nash. And we lost everything we own on the Derby this weekend. I had it all. You were on Sandman, right? And I was all on journalism.
Yep.
And that did not work out that way. So that was painful. But we had a good time. We had a keg party. It was fun. They put Sprites in keg now, don't they, Carson?
Yeah, no. It was a good time for sure. I mean, the keg we got wasn't the best one we've had.
No, it was messed up, and it was not our fault.
But
shout out to Vaughn for ordering 4 Shakaronis at like 10:30. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That was just the most random.
I remembered it on
me, and he just went, and I was like, and he would go to the door, and I opened the door, and there's just 4 Shakaronis sitting on the front.
I think they saved my life. I'm not gonna lie.
It was huge. Those were big time. It was a big addition. So shout out to Vaughn for the Shakaronis. But Carson, the Cats add Reece Potter, a kid that went to our alma mater, Lexington Catholic alum.
Hail Catholic.
Hail Catholic, as Jim Holthouse would say. And a kid that played at Miami of Ohio the last 2 years, averaged 6.5 points last season, 6 points his freshman season. A true 7'1", maybe 7'1.5", 7'2". Like, this kid is genuinely that tall. He's not like 6'11", and they say he's 7'1". He's 7'1". 215 pounds. We'll talk about that. But Carson, I mean, what I want us to talk about is what this addition is for this team. So what do you see this addition being for this Kentucky basketball team?
Yeah, I see this as more of like maybe a redshirt piece or sparing minutes off the bench, like very sparingly against maybe bad teams, like for a little bit at the end. But what they're going to try to do with Reece is, I mean, he's 7'1", probably 7'2", has all the tools, shooting, passing, can do everything. They're going to add some weight to him, and they're going to get his body right, and then they're going to see what happens. I mean, this is a dude.
I'll give him some.
He could really pan out if it goes in the right direction. He really has all the tools to become successful.
Yeah, and I think that's how Kentucky fans, we have to look at this addition. This guy's not here to play 27 minutes in start. I think that sometimes we get a little bit too like, well, he averaged 6 points. He's not here to be a star for this team. Honestly, he has the upside to be a legitimate play. Now, I wouldn't say this year, not this year, but next year, if he puts on 20 pounds, he could play for this basketball team. But what he also does is when we're playing against a team that has a 7-footer that gets legitimate minutes, he can let you kind of show our team reps of that in practice. Now, Moreno can as well, but still, like, this is a good addition because you have the spot to do it. You bring a Lexington kid back home, and it's just a win-win addition. I loved this addition by this coaching staff for what it is for this team. I think it was a massively smart play, Carson.
Yeah, and now you look at the front court depth, and you got BG, JQ, you got Reece Potter now in the mix, you got Mo D, you've got so many bodies, and then Reece becomes the last of those guys that's going to get any minutes, even though he's a super skilled guy that just needs a little work. That's all that is. And for him to be able to provide practice help, which we really lacked in that area last year, is going to be crucial for us in the success of the team next year.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I mean, now all of your bigs are going to get work against multiple 7-footers. I mean, last year, you had Amari, and then you had BG. BG is 6'10". I mean, BG's not a super tall forward, for being like a center. And then you got Ainsley Almanor and Andrew Carr at 6'11". Like, we didn't have any of those menacing 7-footers that could give our bigs good looks besides Amari. But now you got Malachi, you got Potter. I mean, you've got some legitimate 7-footers that can give our guys some looks against some of these big guys that will pay off when we play against dominant 7-foot guys. So I think it's that kind of addition. Worst case scenario, he's a practice piece that helps us prepare for 7-footers. And that's still a great addition. Like, you know what I mean? That's still a solid addition to this roster.
I mean, you have to think so he's the 13th guy. You got to think you just replaced Walker Horn with Reece Potter. Like,
Yeah.
this is a huge upgrade from
Yes.
what you had. What really excites me is Pope seems fully bought in on filling out this roster the way me and you kind of wanted it to be filled out, right?
Yeah.
We didn't want to have any guys that didn't really produce or do much on the end of the bench. We wanted these roles filled by players who were competitive practice players who could also develop into something that leads to greatness. And I think Reece Potter, all the tools are there. Like I said, I think it's just more development is needed, but he definitely has the chance to become great.
And I mean, Mark Pope, there's just a tweet now from Jeff, what is it, Borzello? Yeah, Jeff Borzello, that we're now after this Desmond Claude kid from USC. We've reached out to him. I don't see a way in the world he would want to come here.
I don't either. That's interesting.
Because, I mean, that's a 16 points a game kid at USC last year.
I don't know. News.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, here's a tweet right here from, unless we got, fake news, which happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Let me pull up his actual Twitter and make sure this is real. But like, I don't think Pope is done yet. I think he's still considering. No, yeah, right there. USC transfer Desmond Claude A, something like that. This is breaking news, like you said. Is hearing from Gonzaga, Duke, Virginia, Ole Miss, and Kentucky. With Duke reaching out over the weekend in his next school, sources is looking for a proven backcourt mate to share playing time and build for a deep run. I mean,
that's very strange because I saw a statement earlier today about Florida not even being considered anymore with him because they were the early front runners and that recruitment. And so maybe that goes hand in hand. You never know with recruitments when one team goes away and another emerges.
Yeah. The reason I think it's interesting, I don't think we're going to, I mean, if you ask me my percentage, I'd say 1%. Yeah. The point I brought it up is to say, like, Pope's filling this roster out. You know what I mean? Like, he is filling this thing out with good basketball players. He's going to have a full roster full of guys that can help this team. And that's why I bring that up. I don't think he's done yet. I think he's got more work to do is what it's seeming like to me. So, and I love that mentality from him.
In his words, he's scouring the planet.
Yes. And I mean, wherever he can find, if you're good at basketball in this world, whatever, the 7 billion people here, Mark Pope will find you. Did you see that? To bring up a little side note, we'll talk more about Potter. I'm yapping now, but did you see that tweet I put on our Twitter, Wildcats Today, right there? If you haven't already, go follow it. But this is a quote from Yelovich when he officially signed, and Coach Pope puts out a quote that I get him emailed to me, and it said Pope talked about him as a player and what he brings and all that. But then the next quote said, "When we did our Zoom, you could see the emotion on his face of how much Kentucky means to him and that he cannot wait to wear a Kentucky jersey." And the reason I thought that was such a powerful and cool quote is because this is a kid from Europe and he understands how important the Kentucky basketball brand is. And if you're a Kentucky fan, I think take pride in that. I mean, in Europe, they understand what this program means and how good it is. And I just think that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And, I'm going to Scotland here at the end of the month, and I'm going to be repping Big Blue Nation all across Scotland. So I'm going to try to get every native of Scotland to be a Kentucky fan.
Has there ever been a Scottish, like, now I'm not saying like Scott, like I have a ton of, I have a ton of family in Scotland, but like a Scottish born NBA player, I'm thinking no, could be wrong.
No. That's a good one. That's for our viewers. I think our viewers can find it out.
Go find that. Has there been a Scottish-born NBA player? Let us know.
If you find it out, you get a shout out next pod.
Yes, you do. You do if you find that. But so back to the Potter edition, Carson. I think that he's not here to play 30 minutes. He's not here to play 1 minute. Honestly, I think you talk about the depth in the whole thing. Last year we had these walk-ons. And now we have a guy that, played Division I basketball last year and is 7'1" as our depth pieces. And I mean, you have an injury, like let's say someone gets hurt, or maybe JQ's rehab takes a little bit longer, and then BG tweaks his hammy and he's going to miss a game or two. You can run Potter out there against Bucknell and he can be fine. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Point is, it's more depth. That's the point of what I brought up. I mean, it's more depth, and it's never a bad thing to have a ton of depth, Carson.
Oh, no, 100%. And I mean, we can beat a dead horse all we want to, but having the best possible roster that you can have is always what we're looking for. And Reece Potter as your 13th man is a pretty exciting thing for sure.
Exactly. So, let us know what y'all think in the YouTube comments about the addition. I mean, do you see him finding a way to sneak in and take some minutes? The only thing I could see, Carson, is and once again, if you ask me the probability of this, I'd say 1 out of 100. But if he finds a way to kind of like, maybe Moreno needs a little bit more development, and he's kind of like that. If someone gets in foul trouble and he plays 5 minutes a game, but he'd have to beat out Moreno. I don't see that happening. I'm just saying that would be the only possibility that he has some kind of role this year on this team, I think.
You want to know something though that I love that Pope is doing?
What?
Every single one of our big men this upcoming year, and even kind of last year, I know he didn't really have his pick of the litter like he did this year, but they're all good at everything. I mean, Amari clearly wasn't good at shooting, but he was great at pass, like probably the best passing big we've seen. Like he was unreal at passing. But they're all good at everything. And the later Cal years, like you had guys like Yenzo and guys like that who couldn't even really walk and chew gum at the same time. So now it's really exciting to see that the new era of bigs that we're getting.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think that this front court is just going to be special. I mean, you have so many great players. I mean, so many great players in this front court. And it's going to be really difficult to ever have concerns about depth. And that's really exciting. So, when I look at this roster now, it's just getting deeper and deeper. And that's huge. Like that's great to know that you have so many options. And I mean, once again, a player like Potter, it gives you another chance at a kid. How many stories do you hear about the kid? I'm not saying he's not a walk-on, but like the former walk-ons, it just gives you more opportunities for players to outplay be better than we anticipate, or develop. It just gives you more chances to have that stuff happen, and it will happen someday.
Not to mention, as much as it's exciting that JQ and BG get to get better playing against Reese, how much better does Reese get when he's playing against JQ and BG every practice? At Miami of Ohio, you ain't finding Brandon Garrison and Jaden Quaintance just lying around. So it's good for both parties.
Yeah, I agree with you. They just canceled our softball game. That's depressing. Shout out to Rain.
The 0-3 Sliders.
Yeah, we are 0-3. It's because we lost. I mean, what happens when you lose Pablo Sandoval? How do you win games? How do you win games?
I didn't re-sign, but we'll have to.
You didn't
be in talks for fall season.
So, but yeah, and then the last thing I'll say about Potter too, the kid can shoot it. Like he shot 36.7% from three, I believe it was.
Yeah,
on 2 attempts a game last year. Like that's significant. That's enough.
That's kind of cool.
Sample size to be like this kid can shoot. So I
mean, he did it at Catholic. Like he was a monster at Catholic.
Yeah, no, yeah. He I remember I went to a game. It was and I mean, it was a Christmas break, and I went to a game. I forget with who. And I just walked in the door. I'm like, what? When I saw that, I'm like, we have a 7-foot kid. When did that happen? Like we were not in high school anymore.
I was like,
yeah. But I just went to a game and I walked in the door and I hadn't heard anything about it. And I was just like, what in the world is happening? We have a 7'1" kid. Sweet. I don't know how he didn't win state that year, which is crazy. Partially because, there was Malachi Moreno and Travis Perry and Reed Shepard and Trent Noah. And those were part of the issues. But yeah. So any other thoughts, Carson, before we call it a day?
Yeah, I think the idea of it's kind of dead for Kentucky boys to play at Kentucky is that kind of is a stupid statement now, right? I mean, how many Kentucky boys we got on this year's roster? Most I've seen probably since I've been alive. So that's really, really exciting for us. I know that being locals, but I hope they all kill it here.
I'm with you. So listen, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We'd appreciate that. Helps the show out a ton. And on Thursday, we are going to make our stone cold lock of the century of the year player that is set to break out and be an absolute star for this Kentucky basketball team. So tune in on Thursday and find out who that is. Carson and I are staking our claim to a player being really, really special this year. So hop on in on Thursday for that. You won't want to miss it.
Otega away.
Yes, it's Otega away. We think he's going to have a good year. That's funny. But so yeah, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great rest of their Monday. We'll see you on Thursday right here on the Wildcats Today podcast.